Hey, you're listening to the Road to a Billion podcast. I'm your host, Stefan Georgi, and I'm glad to have you with me here today. The Road to a Billion is a call-in radio show where you can ask me questions about freelancing, copywriting, entrepreneurship, mindset, scaling funnels, relationships, money, and more. The reason for the name is because my products that I've written copy for, whether my own or for clients, will hit $1 billion in sales this year. And I also want to make an impact on the lives of 1 billion people over the next 10 years. And by impact, I mean helping them with their emotional, mental, and financial well-being. I'm going to start taking calls in about 5 minutes or from now. And by calls, I really mean questions. So the way it works is, we're here on Zoom on a webinar. So if you have a question you want me to answer live, just put it into the Q&A section. And then Ed will go through and select questions to be answered. Also, if you see questions in the Q&A that you like, then upvote them, give them a like. So we tend to kind of prioritize there, although we will try to get to some that people didn't give as much love to as well. Then speaking of Ed, Ed had asked me, I did already give Ed co-host to this time, Lutfi, I'm on it. But Ed asked me to introduce him today. So I am joined by my wonderful co-host and friend, Ed Reay. Ed Reay is a boy wonder who likes green rooms and backgrounds. He likes Green Day and green rooms. He is a former, how would you say, a former marketing whiz for a well-known person who now doesn't get is probably kind of went astray, but Ed left before that happened because he's smart. He is one of the top Facebook compliance experts on the planet, even at his young age. He's a brilliant marketer, a brilliant guy, a great friend, and someone who provides wonderful wisdom on this show. So I'm always so thankful to have Ed with me on the Road to a Billion. Ed, was that an okay introduction? I mean, it wasn't perfect,
thank you.
but
No, I really appreciate the kind words. And dude, I should just have you intro me for now. Like, that's way better than me saying it.
just in life, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Before I go on a date, Stefan just randomly call a girl and be like, yo, so let me tell you about this Ed guy real quick. And then just lay it on him.
I feel like I'd be more like the father. If a girl comes over, I'd be like, what are your intentions with my Ed? And I would, give her the talk. Like, I want you to treat him nicely, and I want Ed back by 10. I'd really have to lay down the law.
Dude. And then you could pull the 9 out of 10 women recommend Ed,
I would definitely do that as well. So we take calls in a second here, and for everybody who's, on, always so appreciative. So everybody here on Zoom or who's watching on Facebook Live, as we start, I am going to begin by doing my sort of opening monologue, which is something that I do before every show, where I kind of talk for like 5 minutes or so. And Ed, I'm laughing at the chat. But today the kind of opening monologue is about not letting the moment define you. And what I'm really talking about here is we've all seen those movies where, there's a defining moment for somebody, whether it's like in like a war movie and they're about to charge the enemy, or there's a sports movie and there's one big play we love that stuff culturally, and this is your defining moment, right? But in reality, we don't really want defining moments, and most moments don't define us. In fact, the vast majority of the time, the moments in our life that we think are defining moments end up not being. Are there exceptions? I guess sort of, right? If you're Martin Luther King and you're about to give the I Have a Dream speech, then that moment will kind of define you. If you're Christopher Columbus and you're about to land on the shore of the Americas, then that moment's going to define you for better or worse, right? So there's exceptions, but generally the moment doesn't actually define us, and we don't want it that way. I think about that. The reason I thought about this really is because with the launch of Freelancer Freedom, which is the course that Ian and I have that we kind of promoted and talked about on last week's episode and did a launch for, and the launch kind of went not that well for reasons that I've wrote about to my email list and put in the Justin and Stefan Talk copy group. I think we ended up at about 100 people, and so Ian pointed out that it's funny how definitions of bombing change, right? Because that's like $100,000, and to be like, oh, it bombed, but it wasn't about the money; it was about reaching people. And I didn't really have a half-assed the marketing of it. We focused on the course; the content was great, but we didn't really have a launch strategy. We didn't have a big idea. I've talked about all this stuff. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but what was interesting, and most of you saw me do this, was after we launched on a Thursday, And then by, I guess, Friday, I wrote an email to my list saying, my launch is bombing and I couldn't be happier. And I talked about how the launch wasn't going well and here's all the reasons why and all this stuff. And what was kind of cool, I'm still like really happy I did that. I did not coordinate with Ian, and it wasn't like a kind of publicity stunt, right? It was like I just was like, man, you know what? I'd rather just be really honest and authentic and talk about this. Like, who's ever done that before, right? If you know people who do launches, it's like even if the launch is bombing, they pretend it's not. They just kind of keep pretending everything is going well and they try to fake it. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna fake it. I'm just gonna be super authentic and legit. And then like, let's just have fun with that. And that was the email I wanted to send. And I did. And it's got great feedback. It also, Peter says I bought for the authenticity. And to be completely frank, that was not the purpose, but we had like 10 sales when I sent that email out and had like 40 sales, within a little bit after that. Cause I think a lot of people did buy it. And I'm seeing great things in the chat, by the way, from several people saying how, the authenticity made them buy it as well. And so I appreciate it. But even in that moment, there was still a fear for me of kind of being like, well, if people look up to me as being a successful marketer and someone who has it figured out, and I have had successes and I, have figured a lot of stuff out, but I'm like, even though it's cool to be authentic, are people going to look at that and be like, oh, he failed and now he's talking about it. And I sent more emails about kind of it not doing well. And I'm talking about it right now. And I was like, is that going to like define me or something? And I knew right away the answer was no, right? Because like, it was just one thing. And it's like, why would that be the moment that defines me? I mean, all of the cool things I've done and all the things I'm going to continue to do, and just realizing that, no single moment is going to really define me and who I am. And so if I let those moments define me, then I would be nowhere near where I am today, because I've had a lot of both good moments and bad moments. I think back to, I was at a mastermind of Ed O'Keefe's in Nashville. This is not the first one. I've talked about that first mastermind of Ed O'Keefe, but some of the other ones. And it was one of them. And I had been doing up to like, $60,000 to $100,000 a day of my supplement company. But we were there during that week, my sales were kind of down for some reasons. And I was still doing like $20,000 to $30,000 a day, which is like, a year ago would have been unheard of that I could even do that. But I remember being like really down on myself and like feel like I didn't have confidence because my sales had gotten lower. And even saying like that was so stupid. I'm like, why am I letting myself be defined by my sales, right, that I'm making? So really the point is just not letting these moments define us. Cause like whether it's a failure or a win, if you have some great win and you like everything is there's a balance, right? Like there's the highs and there's the lows and there's the in-betweens, but there's no one single moment that's going to define you, unless I guess you're Galileo and you're saying that the, Earth revolves around the sun. But if you talk to like Martin Luther King or Galileo, if you go back in time, are they going to, or like Lincoln with Gettysburg, right? Are they going to, maybe others have defined them that way to an extent, but like, that's not how they define themselves. You get the power to choose how you define yourself. And for me, I'd rather, be harder to define than some single thing, some single moment. So I just wanted to kind of share that because it's something I was playing with in my head this morning and that was interesting. So that's it. Yeah. Ed, do you have anything to add to my monologue?
I think you really covered all the bases, and just to not, like you said, let the moments define you, but let your actions moving forward define you.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think like, I don't even like definitions, right? It's we're a sum of experiences. We're a sum of of who we are and our actions and all these different things. So to try to be like defined, like, it's like a definition is like almost like death, right? Because once you're defined, there's nowhere, it's sort of like closed off. It's finished, closed book, right? A definition. And I want to be evolving and organic and growing and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think, I'm just not a fan of definitions. John said, we are defined by our ability to resist temptation. Are we defined by that? That's the thing, right? I don't know if we're defined by anything. We're motivated. We're driven to action, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I think that we're defined by anything. There's like all these defining moments of history aren't actually defining. They're moments in history. and that what seems like the most important thing, you know, in human history becomes like less important as time goes by. So I don't know. So anyway, with that being said, though, we're going to answer lots of questions in the Q&A. And I am very excited to do that. Sorry, Santiago. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's do it.
We already have a question from the woman, the myth, the legend, Kimmy Do.
Kimmy Do!
She's always like the first on, and she always asks the first question, and it always gets the most amount of likes. Like, it shoots way to the top compared to everybody else's questions. And she always asks great questions and like learn. She's gonna be fucking rich very like in the future. Like I can see it.
Kimmy's a legend. I talk about Kimmy all the time. Kimmy, not to make you uncomfortable. Like I talked about you with Brian Kurtz yesterday when we were chatting. I talked about you with Jude when we were filming new episodes for my docu-series. Like I'm referencing you all the time because I just think you're such a gangster, and especially to be at your, you know, age and like not, I think like I'm not worried about the age stuff. I don't think like, oh, like it's almost like diminishing, right? Like to be like, oh, well, because you're 16, but you're just a great marketer, period. But the fact that you have so much figured out at 16 and you're doing all these awesome things, I just like constantly, I'm so impressed by it. So I'm just always going around being like, oh, what's your excuse? Look at Kimmy Do. She's crushing it. So anyway, Kimmy, what's up? What's your question? What's Kimmy's question?
So she asks for your best advice on preventing burnout and staying consistent.
Cool.
Hi, Stefan. Thank you so much. I literally don't know what to say. Like, I'm shaking so much. Thank you so much.
No, of course, 100%. I mean, you totally deserve the praise. It's so awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, the question is pretty straightforward. Are you worried about, you know, are you struggling with burnout? Are you afraid of kind of potentially getting burned out, or curious about the genesis of that question?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like I'm not really consistent. Like some days I feel super motivated, and then other days, like I just don't want to get out of bed at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how much are you working right now?
Like I would say right now, probably 12 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you working during the weekends too?
Yeah.
Okay. So I
can
mean,
relate to that one.
Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, I think right away, I mean, the biggest and most obvious thing is like allowing yourself to have downtime and to give yourself a break, like to take weekends off and to recharge and to not feel like you have to work 12 hours a day. You know, I talk about looking at what your biggest needle movers are and not feeling like you have to fill the hours in the day. And that if you don't do that, then you're not, you know, trying hard enough. You're not working hard enough towards your goal, that you're letting things slip away. Let me ask me, why are you working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day?
Yeah, I just feel like this really sense of urgency to move forward and to like become the best I can be. Like I just have this urgency that I really need to make it like really fast.
Totally. I understand that. And you are making it, first of all, which is awesome. But I think the really important thing to think about is that paradoxically, you'll make it faster if you allow yourself to have downtime. Because otherwise, if you don't, then you will get burned out. I mean, there's no secret that's like, oh, work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week and not get burned out. Like it's you can do it for a while, but ultimately it's just not sustainable. And like we need to like recharge. We need to have these different buckets in our life, right? So there's like our work bucket, and then there's our relational bucket, and then there's our like kind of personal mental health bucket, and our the guitar analogy I mentioned early on, like the whole thing I thought about with this and why these 6 strings of a guitar, right, is like there's sort of there's your physical health, emotional health, your spiritual health, your relational health, your financial health, and what I'm forgetting, maybe your mental health or whatever it is. And basically you need to have like each one of if each one's a string on a guitar, right? And if like your work health is like, or your financial health is great, right, and that's really in tune, but your like relational health isn't because your relationships suck, the guitar still sounds terrible. And if both of those are still in tune, but your physical health sucks, the guitar still sounds terrible. Like you really have to like have all of the strings in tune. And right now you're putting everything into your financial like kind of string, like that one's getting tuned up. But like ultimately, if you don't allow yourself to have the downtime and to relax, then you will get burned out. And not only that, when you do the downtime, relax, you'll find that you have better ideas. You'll find that you are more motivated. I've talked before on this show about how, like with Hemingway stopping writing in the middle of a sentence, and then so that he could come back the next day and pick right back up. And also because he'd be pissed for the rest of the day. He'd be like, I wanted to finish that sentence and I didn't get to. But it's the same thing with taking the weekend off. It's like if you stop working or stopping working at like 4 or 5, and you're like, man, I've got more stuff I want to get done. But, by not doing that, you feel motivated to come back the next day and keep going. But if you kind of if there's no end in sight, then you're just going to get tired, and you're going to, and then the days where you don't feel motivated and you don't get out of bed is your body and your mind, like trying to protect yourself in a way. It's trying to give yourself that downtime. Like I've talked about this before for myself when I used to be like more of a, like just when I would go out and like get super drunk or like do cocaine, and like even when I moved to Vegas, there was some periods where I'd go out and like gamble and get drunk till like 7 a.m. and like then have this self-loathing the next day. Like, you're 16 and thank God you're not doing that. But like even that stuff, a lot of it was me almost forcing myself to have downtime, right? Because if I got so messed up and like so like hungover that I physically couldn't work, then I just lay in bed. I would lay in bed and order like pho and stuff like that, and like just watch movies and TV and Netflix and like kind of be self-loathing. But it was also like me having the downtime that I would never allow myself to have when I wasn't in like a physically poisoned state. And I think, I'm really going off on this, but it's because I really think this is important. And is this making sense for you?
Yeah, thank you so much. This is super helpful. Like hearing your experience, and then like really knowing the importance of getting downtime and how it's okay to have downtime.
It's really important. Yeah, it is. It's really how you keep going and how you avoid burnout, because otherwise it will happen. So giving yourself that permission and realizing, because again, even if you want to look at it from as a means to an end, and the end being a bunch of, financial success and all this kind of stuff, which is awesome. But like you're actually making an investment in your success by giving yourself downtime.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Thank you so much, Stefan. I really appreciate it.
100%. Please take a break. Do some more downtime.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Kimmy. Sweet.
Next one. So,
by the way, wait, real quick, everyone on Facebook Live, I just want to give you guys the love. Mark Dean said, I came right in when he said getting drunk on cocaine. So yeah, Mark, I know you picked a good time for that. And Tony Gredmeyer, I'm not sure if you're still watching, but love you, man. Glad you're here. Niraj too. So sorry, go ahead. I just want to give our Facebook Live friends some love too.
Let's do it. So question from Zacchaeus. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. What's the daily routine a newbie copywriter would do to work on to be a great copywriter? I've heard of writing copy, reading copy et al., but what exactly would it look like?
Sweet. What's up, Zacchaeus? How are you doing?
Hi, Stefan.
How are you?
Yeah, so much excited to be here to talk to you on this platform. Awesome. I've been waiting for this a whole for a while. Yeah, I've been going through your content, and it's been awesome. I've been it's like a drug high to me. Your email, and what you post on your group, and I've been learning. And the last conversation you had with Ian got me drilled to like go all in on this, being a better copywriter. And I've been doing on a daily basis. I've been writing content. I'm going through your email, writing it, hands-on experience, and a whole lot like that. So I would like to ask, what would you recommend for a newbie copywriter? Like a daily template.
I know, I'm listening to you. My daughter came in for a visit, but I am listening to you as well.
Okay, thanks. So like a daily template that he could do so that he could become a better copy writer. Because I have a goal in the next 60 to 90 days to at least up my game and go all in on this, because I'm kind of loving it, the writing, the ideas, and a whole lot of things coming up in, but I want to go all in. So what would you recommend for a newbie copywriter?
Yeah. How much time do you have per day? I mean, are you doing other stuff? Are you do you have a job as well? Or are you pretty much have all day? Like how many hours per day do you really have that you feel like you can really dedicate to it?
Okay. Like now, what I'm currently doing is that I wake up 3 a.m. in the morning. Then I spend the first 3 hours of the day writing. Then I'm kind of free by 12. So from 12 to 2 o'clock, I also do that. So in the evening, sometimes I also do that. So let's say roughly I have like 5 hours in a day to do that.
When you're writing from like, the morning block and then from 12 to 2, I mean, you're writing copy. Is it for
Exactly.
clients, or is it for clients, or is it for yourself to kind of practice?
No, it's just for myself to kind of practice at this point in time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like magical answer to this. I mean, I think the writing is good. The best I can say would be, are you reading other people's like promos and copy every day?
Yeah, like I like the Agora promos, like the likes of Evado Abuquadra of I think Agora, one of the chief copy. I go through his content and I do hands-on writing. Also your content, Ian's content, and some of your sales copy that you have. I also go through it. So I want to know like what is the best way for me to write, read, and like how can I up my game in this particular industry when it comes to that?
I mean, it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right stuff. Like, I think, like reading controls, like looking at different, I'd look in different categories and niches. So looking at Agora stuff's good, but I'd look at other, other swipes, other things that are working, like watching VSLs, like go to ClickBank and find the top VSLs and like watching those and making notes, transcribing them, and then, practicing like what you're doing in Frame right now, maybe like rewriting like offers. Like if you find like a, control you like and you've got the script for it, and then how could you rewrite it? What would you do? Right. So if you want to practice and you don't have clients, like you can practice stuff like what could I do for a unique mechanism that's different than what they did? What could I do for a lead that would maybe be different? And then you can practice writing like and rewriting parts of these controls. The benefit of that too is if you write something good, you can always send it to the offer owner and be like, hey, I wrote this for you. You want to try it out? Which so could end up getting you a client. But typically, I think you're doing the right stuff. I would probably spend the majority, if I had 5 hours, I would spend 2 to 3 hours, maybe at least 3 hours on of it, like studying copy, so watching other sales letters, video sales letters and transcribing them, looking at other controls, reading them, taking notes, looking at the structure, doing all that kind of stuff. And then I spend, really maybe like an hour or two writing. I mean, I think the writing is important for practice, but I do think, really being exposed to a lot of that stuff and really making a note of it. So not just reading it, but really like what are the commonalities I'm seeing? What is like the structure that's being done? What is the phrasing that I keep seeing? Why do I think this is successful? Where do I think that it could be improved? Because no piece of copy is like perfect, that even the gods, right? They can have them. There's opportunities to improve it. This is a lot of the big stuff that comes to my mind. Ed, curious if you have anything you want to add into that as well.
I've actually got quite a bit to talk about on this one.
Nice.
So my first question, Zacchaeus, is do you have any clients yet?
As at 2 weeks ago, there was someone I actually wrote a content from. I'm actually from I reside in Nigeria right here. So I wrote some content for him and he actually liked it. So
Nice.
I've been doing, though I'm not actually looking at the pay because it's just like a minion kind of a thing. But it's just like a medium for me to actually see what I get and give it out and test. So it's like, let me say I'm kind of having a client, so to say. So I'm giving out contents like email format to him, and there's been some kind of improvements based on what I'm currently doing, going through your contents and using that to actually go through the content I'm currently doing now. So to say, I have, let me call him a client, but not like a retainer kind of a client. So he's just testing my work, but for now, there's a kind of result from what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay, got you. So if that's the case, uh, I love what Stefan said about choosing somebody to write as your client almost. And I can give you a great example. So I have a client for myself, and they wanted some Facebook ads, and I was very, very swamped. And I reached out to somebody who's currently on the call right now. I'm not gonna say who, but I asked that person to write some Facebook ads for me. But first, I wanted to see their samples.
Okay.
So they showed me their samples of just like random things that they wrote for Facebook ads, and I was like, that's not very helpful. Like that's cool. I can kind of see your writing ability, but I already wanted to help the person and I wanted to hire them, even if they were trash, just because I wanted to help them. Clients are not going to be that way. So to me, like, find somebody who has an offer that you want to help, and then you write copy, like pretend that you are that person's copywriter. You write for them, like write the 3 emails or whatever. So when you show it to them, you have, like, hey, this, like, I wrote this for you. Because when clients ask for, or prospects ask for samples from you, what they really are gauging is how good is this person going to be to write for me? That's really what they're doing. And how skilled are they? So instead of making them guess how it's going to be writing for them, why don't you just show them? And also, it gives you better stuff to write about if you're writing for that person. And if it doesn't work out, they don't like it, well, congratulations, you just added extra stuff to your portfolio.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that's great, Ed. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So I guess, does that help? There's no magic thing. Like, there's no magic formula where it's like, study for 2 hours, write for 1 hour, like, do a walk for an hour. It's like, it's, but you're doing the right stuff. And I think, back to what Ed just said, I think that's really a big crux of it. I think he was spot on. Yeah, I agree, Rob. So does that help, man?
Yeah, very, very well. Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you, Ed, and thanks for creating something like this, a medium for once to communicate to you like this, because it's kind of priceless. And thanks for the value you actually give to the copywriting industry. Not just copywriting, mentally and in every area. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Thank you. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Boom. That was a great question.
That was a great question.
Dude, there's just something about like writing, like sending free samples, or like choosing a client, like hypothetically, and then just writing for them and then practicing. And then once you feel like your stuff is good enough, then you send it to them.
Yeah. Another one, same thing with even doing like kind of critiques and things. Like one of the strategies in Freelancer Freedom, I forget whose it is, but I'll just give it away. Somebody was doing that. They were like writing emails for a client, and then like the client like wasn't responding to them, but then they want to put it on their LinkedIn. And so they basically were showing all this copy on LinkedIn that they were writing, and like, here's all this like content. I'm writing all this stuff, like, and just posting that on LinkedIn. And then people saw that in the person's LinkedIn feed, and then like hired them because of that. So that's another way you don't waste it, right? We go back to selling your sawdust. It's like, you can write it for that client, but if the client doesn't use it, right, or if you do a copy critique or a conversion critique or whatever it is, then just put it on LinkedIn, share it other places. Like, now you're showcasing your work, and like that, you can get clients just from that. Rachel, I can't remember if it was an email critique or not. I'm blanking on it, but I'll have to check later. But it was a really good strategy. That's the thing, right? Record your content. Like you guys have seen, you guys and gals have seen. I really try not to just do the only guys thing. I'm also trying to not say girl anymore. I noticed that I do that. Quick side tangent. Because I'll be like, oh, he's a good guy. But I'll be like, oh, yeah, this girl who works for me. And I'm like, well, I want to say this boy who works for me. So why am I saying girl? So if I say guys, I say gals because it flows. But I'm really trying to be a little more conscious of my my pronouns and stuff like that, just so you all know. Like, I know it's silly, but I also want to be respectful. But anyway, actually, shit, that just totally derailed me in my train of thought, Ed. Totally lost what I was going to say because I had to go on a gender pronoun rant.
Oh man, Stefan.
Emails. Fuck. It'll come back. I promise.
Basically, you were talking about the LinkedIn critique. So somebody posted on LinkedIn that sawdust.
Oh yeah. I mean, just the fact that I try to record so much of the stuff I do, because you never know when that's going to be valuable. So like just, yeah, these calls, but even if I'm doing other critiques and feedback, I mean, think about even with Copy Accelerator and all of the critiques and feedback that we're giving to all of our members, if we were ever to, stop doing Copy Accelerator, I have
I would cry.
1,000 plus like critiques that I have recorded of Justin and I going through copy and giving feedback and critiques and reviewing copy. Like that alone is like an absurdly valuable course. So just realizing you just have assets everywhere, right? And there's so many ways to purpose the things you're doing. So I would just say, again, be all about that sawdust, record stuff, repurpose, re-leverage content, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Please don't close Copy Accelerator. I'd cry.
I have no plans to.
I'd be very sad. All right, question from Heidi. This is a very good question. Haven't seen this one before. What is the mindset shift you think you need to go from being a mid-range copywriter, like 8K to 10K, to earning 20K or more every month? This is very applicable to me, actually.
It is.
Literally just happened.
What's up, Heidi? How are you? You there, Heidi? I don't hear you. I see you unmuted, which is okay.
So she muted.
But it's a great question.
We can't hear you.
It's okay. Heidi, if your mic works, try. We'll let you know. But it's a great question, Heidi. And yeah, Ed, I mean, I wanted to talk about that. No problem, Heidi. We appreciate you asking. We'd love to have interacted with you voice to voice, but we can get that next time. I have thoughts, but this is a cool one because when I talked to, I mean, can I kind of share the story of that?
Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead. It's fine.
When we were at the last Copy Accelerator event in Vegas and towards the end of February, and Ed had been with, his employer for a while at that point, and he was going to leave, and we were talking about it, and Ed was sort of worried about making, I forget what originally you were worried about making, and you were kind of like your goal was, and
my goal was 10K.
Your goal was 10K, and I was like, dude, you can make like you'll definitely make 10K. I'm like, honestly, like you'll probably make 20K a month really fast. And Ed's like eyes got really wide, and he was like, what? Like, really, man? Like, wow, like shaking his head. And this was not that many months ago. This was like what, five months ago?
This is the end of February, yeah.
Yeah, it's like March, April, May, June, July. It's like 5 months ago. And I mean, what have you made so far this month, Ed?
This month, 19.5K US.
Yeah. So the answer was just like what I told you, but you had to go through a crazy mindset shift, right? To go from making like less than 10K a month on your job a lot of the time, to now you'll probably make close to 30K this month.
Like more than 10K a month on my job, dude.
Yeah.
That'd have been sick, but yeah, just over quintupled. Was it like, I don't know what the 6x is, that's what it's called. Six-tupled, but yeah, that's what happened with my income.
So what happened? Tell us about the mindset. Going back to Heidi's question, I mean, because there was a mindset shift. Because when I first told you could do 20K in a month, you were like shocked. Like you was like a deer in the headlights kind of. I mean, I think you knew in your heart that you were always going to do that, but to hear maybe my confidence that you could do it, and that
like that scene especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, you started it. Like you, just your unshakable belief in me that really set me up for success. Just like straight up, that you were like, yeah, dude, you'll make 15, 20K. You'll crush it easy. I was like, what? Like, and then my goal shifted from, 10K month to 20K plus month. Right. So I was like, okay, so what do I have to do? And by the way, since I left, even the first month I left, I didn't make less than, this is in Canadian dollars, 15.4K. So I was like 9K.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
So 9K US. So triple my income within a month of leaving. But what really set me up, so like I said, having somebody or like a support group of people who believed in me, that was really just, everybody's like, Ed, you got this. Like, you can do this. We're here to support you. Like being part of like a family, like RMBC or Copy Accelerator or RMBC Applied or Copy Accelerator Lite, like any community like that where people hold you to higher standards. And like I've made some lifelong friends because of this journey. So on top of that, plus a great income, that's been incredible. So that's the first thing. That's like super tactics and, you know, tricks aside, just having the right people around you, and being involved in the community is very important too. The next thing I'd say for sure is, I know we're talking about mindset shift. I guess this is considered mindset shift, but just showing up all the time. Like, for example, like I remember one of the guys in Copy Center, I think his name Win, he was posting every single day.
On Justin and Stefan Talk Copy.
Yeah, posting every single day in a free Facebook group. Sorry, yeah, and also community Justin Stefan Talk Copy as well. It's a great group. There's literally like multi-$100 million business owners in there just commenting on people's posts and Justin Stefan Talk Copy. And these are like the fucking legends of copywriting. Like, holy crap. Like, you guys have seriously built an amazing community. So just showing up every single day, like that's kind of why I've built my success. Is I show up every day all the time, and I'm vocal. Like, I believe it or not, I'm not really an extrovert. I just turn it on when I have to. Like, basically I have, after each of these calls, I have to go and recharge for like an hour. But that's the point of showing up. Like, you know, Stefan had this opportunity. He's like, hey, Ed, you know, I'm thinking about doing this call and radio show. Do you want to be the co-host? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Easy. I wasn't like, you know, I'll think about it, man. Dude, just show up. Like, I don't know what opportunity this is going to present me, but just showing up and, you know, being okay with not necessarily getting anything out of it. I didn't expect anything out of this. This is just, it's fun for me. Plus I want to help give back, which is also a lot of benefit. And showing up consistently, like every single week, you guys see me. I know for a fact when I drop a course or I do something, you guys are probably going to buy, or anything like that. So, or hire me for copywriting, whatever happens to be. So the mindset shift to me from a mid-range copywriter to, you know, 20K or more every month. So once you have the foundation, those are the foundations. That's like what I just said. Everybody needs that to show up often every day and to have a great community. But like to go from 8K to 20K plus, at least in my journey, has been starting to specialize. Like you can be, you know, you could be a generalist copywriter, and you could be earning 8 to 10K a month. You know, you charge, let's say, you know, 5K to 7.5K for a sales letter. But in my opinion, to get past that, like to get past the 10K mid 15 mark, you got to start specializing a bit more in what you do and who you serve and how you help them. Stefan, I saw you had a little thinking moment there. I want to hear your thoughts too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think those were great answers, Ed, and I really appreciate it. One of the interesting things I was thinking about from a mindset, this is kind of like a mindset pep talk for you, Heidi, a little bit, but honestly, if you're making 8 to 9K a month, then you could be making 20 to 30K a month right now, right? So just objectively, basically, because it's hard to get to 8 or 9,000 a month. And if you keep doing that consistently right now, there's no reason you couldn't be doing 20 to 25 to 30. I mean, and we've had that happen with all these people in Copy Accelerator, like again and again and again. But it's totally doable. So what do you need to do to get there, right? One thing on the mindset side of things, I mean, you know, I'm glad you agree it's possible, because it's 100% possible, 100% doable. One thing I've been thinking about a little bit recently is how every time we level up, it feels like this big leap. And I'm not referencing The Big Leap, the book in this case, although we talk about The Big Leap every show, so it would be terrible if I didn't mention it. So hashtag The Big Leap. But right, every time you level up, it feels like this big leap. Like it feels like you're going to this road of the unknown, and you're scared, and it's kind of exhilarating, and you're worried, and it's like, you know, a new territory in your life, in your career, and in your growth. But every time you get there, almost every time, after a while, at least most of the time, you get used to it, right? And then it feels like the new normal. So like the stuff that like 8 to 9K a month probably felt like this impossible goal to you a few years back, or something like totally hard to achieve. Now you're there and you're like sick of it and annoyed, and you're like, ugh, 8 to 9K. right? When past you would have been thrilled of 8 to 9K. So when you realize that, and you realize that no matter where you go to, no matter where you leapfrog to or level up to, like it's going to seem like this big leap, but then you're going to end up getting used to it and being comfortable there. And then you're still going to want to go even further. Like even once you get to 20 or 30K, you're probably going to be like, how do I get to 50K? Right? How do I get to 100K a month? Once you realize that that's true, and it's like almost always happens that way, then it's like, let's just like leapfrog shit too. Like, right. So let's just go like, why do I need to do baby steps? Like if I know that's going to happen and it keeps happening that way, then why don't I take like bigger leaps? Right. And I think like, that's kind of important to know, is that like almost like future pacing yourself, thinking about how once you're there, you're already going to be like in this place where you need to like, you're going to want to grow again. It can help you to make the leap in a less amount of time. And then from a tactical or strategic standpoint, Heidi, I do think you could probably look at charging more. Especially, you know, if you're consistently getting 8 to 9K a month, that means, I'm guessing that means you're getting results for people and you're showing them, you know, like people are hiring you because they're expecting to get a good ROI from it. So I would, you know, I don't know if you're using some of the strategies I've talked about before, like doing the math where you kind of show them how they're getting an ROI by hiring you and investing in you. I think that's a really important thing to do. So for those watching who don't know what I'm talking about with like doing the math really quickly, it's like, you're not an expense, you're an investment, right? So if someone's going to hire you and you're like, how much do you think you're going to gross? And, you know, they're like, oh, I think, you know, I'm like, I'm guessing you want to gross at least $1 million with this offer, right? And they say, yeah, definitely. Like, all right, cool. And your profit margin is probably gonna be like, I don't know, 20%. And they say, well, it's going to be like 40%. You're like, all right, cool. Let's just say it's 20%. You know, that's $200,000 that you would get like net profit, money in the bank. I charge, you know, $10,000 or $15,000. Here's my track record, especially for someone like you, Heidi, who I think has a track record. And you're like, here's my track record. I've helped these other people to do it. I've done it consistently. And that's why when you hire me, like you're not, you know, just throwing money at something. You're making an investment in someone who has a track record of helping people to achieve exactly what you want to achieve. And the result of that is that for this $10,000 investment in me, or $15,000 investment, or whatever it is, you know, you have the chance to like gross $1 million, but net, you know, $200,000. So say it's 10,000 and you're going to take 2 clients on in a month, and that's how you get to 20,000. But so like, all right, for $10,000, that means like you're basically hiring me with the chance of a 20x ROI. If you went to Wall Street and said, hey, you know, buy this stock, and every dollar you put in, you're going to get $20 back, you would buy as much of that stock as you could. Well, that's what I am doing for you as a copywriter. So some of it's just like that positioning and doing the math for them. But I think things like that could really help you to justify kind of those higher rates that you charge, and then just having the confidence there when you do it. But this happens all the time in Copy Kickstarter. I did this with I've done it with Ed. I've done it with Randall Pruitt. I've done it with John Robb. I've done it with all these different people where they were like, Sam Robson. I mean, so many people where they were like, I was going to charge $5,000. And I'm like, okay, charge $7,500. And like, they're like, well, $7,500, but it's like, to like the client, the right client, is like, it's immaterial. You know what I mean? You just have to remember, it depends on your clients too, but it's like all relative. I mean, this is like I'm not saying this to sound like arrogant or fucking like, oh, I'm so sick, but like I got a check for like a commission check for like $4,000 yesterday for like, and I get this check every month for something I've referred. And anyway, I literally opened it, looked at it, I was like, meh, and threw it to the side. And like I laughed at myself because I'm like, I like literally had no response to like this, someone sending me $4,000 in the mail, right? And I'm like, I was like, most people get a check for $4,000 in the mail. It's like a life-changing moment where they're like, oh my God, I can pay off this debt, I can do this. But now, you know, to me at this point, I'm like, meh, So if you charge, you know, $5,000 for some project now, and then you up it to $6,500 or $7,000, like for me, like if I think you're the right person, like that makes no difference. So just that's some more mindset stuff to think about when you're working with clients too. I know that was a lot, but I did want to kind of chime in there too.
And it's really cool hearing how you talked about the growth of like, you know, eventually you grow to a point where it's like, it was once a really big goal for you, but like now it's like, oh, like that's it. Like I get really mad. This hasn't happened yet, but so when I first left, I made and this isn't, so back to Canadian dollars, 50.4K in a month. That was my first month leaving. And then like the next month I got to 18K, and the month after that it was down to 16. I was like, fuck, only 16? I was even though it was like, you know, shit, like, you know, 5 times or like 4 times what I was making before. And this month in Canadian is like 24.4K, I think. So yeah, like
Yeah, it's
you
awesome.
guys are in the right place with great people who actually give a shit.
Yeah, 100%. Heidi had asked about kind of which of my groups have the best communities, and it's kind of like all of them do. But I mean, Copy Starter is full. Light has its own kind of community. But honestly, I would, for someone like Heidi, I would probably recommend the freelancing course that Ann and I put out, because it's like we have a lot of these strategies for how to like double or triple your income. And I mean, like Rob Tidwell was on the chat, you know, and he quit his job after attending. And I'm not trying to, I don't even know if the cart's still open or not, but just basically just saying the freelancing one is the one I would do probably. But I think this is a great answer. That was fun getting to answer it. And Heidi, hopefully, was this helpful, Heidi? I know you have your mic working, but you want to give us a yes in the chat? Okay, awesome. Cool. Glad that helped.
That was a sick question though.
That was a sick question. I was excited to be able to kind of pontificate.
I know.
Expound.
It actually gave me a lot of good ideas for my book, because it's like a lot of the same methods.
Nice.
Okay, so a question here from Pedro. Pedro says, I'm a beginner freelance copywriter, so I don't have experience or results, but every job opportunity I see asks for it. How can I get a client without experience and results? Can I answer this?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So we'll bring Pedro on. Pedro.
Hey, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Welcome
thanks.
What's up, Pedro?
I'm great. Better now. I'm talking to you.
in. Love it.
So yeah, I'm a beginner. I think I'm the copywriting stuff since June, July, I think, and I don't have results, neither experience, but every job opportunity comes up to me. Is they ask for experience and results, and I don't know if I apply or just pass it out or what to do. So that's it.
Got you. What kind of opportunities are you looking to get? Is it like emails and stuff?
No, it's sales letters and pages.
Got you. Okay. So here's a really, really easy way around all that problems. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
So when you go to a client who wants you to write, let's say, a sales letter,
Mm-hmm.
you write them 2 or 3 sample emails that's going to be promoting another product of theirs to show them that you have the chops to write for their stuff. So you don't need to have results or experience. You just show them, hey, I'm a good fit to write for your brand. And they can even use it. They can use your emails and send it out to their list and get results from that as well. And they go, hey, you know, this guy actually, not only did he do the work up front, so he wasn't a lazy, you know, piece of shit. He actually like went above and beyond to show us he did his research. He wrote this for us. He took the time to do that, and he got us results in advance. No client's going to care about if you don't have results or experience, if you can get them results and you put in the work up front and show them that you're serious. And then when you go to, hey, so let's write a sales letter for you, they're much more inclined to hire you, even more so than people who are experienced or who have results, because you took that extra initiative. And I know Stefan can agree with this. As a business owner, you want to hire a copywriter, even if they're a bit more junior, if they're willing to go the extra mile for you, instead of just, I'll pay you $5K and then like you're not really interested, you don't really care about my stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. Pedro, real quick, the other thing too, I mean, just like create samples, you know, like you don't need to like, so one thing that I'm not saying, I don't know if you do this or not, but a lot of freelancers will wait and be like, I don't have any sales letters to show them. But it's like, well, why? Like write some sales letters, pick a client, do it. Like then that's no longer an objection. You know, it's an investment of your time, but it's like, you know, you're sowing the seeds today so you get to reap the harvest tomorrow. So just another thing that I would really, and then that objection goes away on the not having samples.
Okay, thanks. Help it a lot. Thanks.
Awesome. Glad to help, Pedro.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bing, bada boom.
John McDermott gets some love in the chat on Zoom here for the road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. Love it. It's good. It's good, John. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for being here, by the way. Can I talk to you? Said someone to all panelists. I don't know who you are. 8B9F7413. But for 89B F whatever, do all panelists and attendees in the chat also. Yeah, it's probably Patriot. Ed, dude, I'm enjoying it. We're getting through a lot today. This is great.
Okay. I'm finding stuff that's like less the same as what we always do. So let's see if we can find something different.
Cool.
Here.
Oh,
okay.
By the way, I see Ryan Skelly. I know for anyone who knows Ryan Skelly, I see he and his wife are expecting a baby, which is amazing. Ryan Skelly is a great guy. I met him through Ed O'Keefe too. Congrats, Ryan Skelly, if you happen to hear this. That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
I feel like most of the questions can be answered as just write samples for people. Honestly,
yeah,
like that's like that literally answers probably 80% of the questions we get on the show. I love you guys. Okay, cool. Great question here from Jazz the Man. So Jazz asks, what would you do if you had no network, no track record, just your copywriting skills, and you only had a week to make 5K? Dude, what did I just say? What did I just say, man?
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hey, buddy. Welcome.
What's up?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm going to be moving to a place next month. And basically I need to have the first month, the second month, and the security deposit. And altogether, it's like going to be 5K. So I wanted to give myself a challenge. I wanted to act as if I had to come up with that money in a week. And I was just curious to know if, like, what would you do if all you had was your skill, you didn't have any of that leverage, but you needed 5K cash in 1 week?
So in this case, we have you don't have the network. You have the copywriting skills, but not the network, right? Do you want to write copy for it, or you want to try and do it a different way?
Yeah, using your copy skills.
Yeah, so writing copy for clients. So I got, I don't know if I have a magical answer for this, but I'm thinking out loud. Like, I would probably use that as a reason to like look for clients. So I'd be like, talking about your track record. I mean, it's tough. I know, damn it. Cause look, like, Justin, I hired you to do some stuff for Copy Accelerator. You're going through all these crazy wins. Like, you have wins. Like, it would be weird for you not to leverage that. So that's why it's a weird question, because you do have some of a network and you have some track record. So like for you, what you should do is basically be like, I'm Jazz, I'm crushing it. Here's all this cool stuff I've done. Justin and Stefan thought I was so good, they hired me. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm moving to a new place. I gave myself a challenge. How do I get like, $5,000 in the next week? And, then like basically I decided that, the most obvious thing was to write a killer sales letter for one lucky client. So I'm only taking on one person. It's $5,000 up front. Like, guarantee you'll get like a, massive ROI. Hire me. Now, that being said, if it's Andrew said, pretend you're talking to me, you just go with 5K. I mean, I'd still just fucking go apply to jobs. I don't know. I would go on like the Call of Copy job boards. Kind of like I've heard iffy things about it lately. I used to recommend it a lot, but I've heard people saying that it's kind of like a wasteland. So I don't know if that's still a good place or not. But like, there's Upwork, there's Network. I'd still probably be, because you can't really sell. I mean, what are you going to sell 5K of? I mean, you can launch a product really fast, but like, I don't know, like even a course, like, I don't know what you're going to launch. And if you want to launch like a training or a coaching thing, but you have no network, then that's going to be really tough too. So like, I'd probably still be looking for gigs and opportunities in places like Upwork and Freelancer and all these other kind of places too. I'm curious what someone else said. I think Rachel had what was Rachel's? People go back to your previous clients and ask for referrals. Well, yeah, but the way Jazz is saying, it's almost like you have nothing. Like, you just are dropped onto earth. You're like a copywriting alien, and you've just been dropped onto earth, but you like have no clients, no anything. What would you do? Ed, do you have a magical answer for this?
I do. Actually, I do.
Nice.
I would lurk Do you have money to invest?
Yeah, I have money to invest.
I would literally go to RMBC and friend everybody in there, and then just start adding as many suggested friends as possible, especially if you can find out if they're in Copy Accelerator.
Mhm.
And then just once you've added everybody, just start posting a bunch of content on your wall about whatever it is that you want to get people to hire you for. So that's one. That's a bit more long term, but you said a week. So you find out who owns what offers and products. So after you've added everybody, ignore the posting on your wall. That's a long term play, which you can do, but the short term play for sure is you find out who owns what offer, do your research, and then you send samples to those people for like emails, and then you show them, hey, I'm a good fit to write your shit. Do you have anything that needs to be written? There you go.
There's
One
also
sells
like,
under 5K.
Yeah, there's like 15 of those case studies in Freelancer Freedom. That's why I'm pissed about the marketing, because like there's like that course like just answers all these questions. There's like 15 ways to get clients really fast. But how much money do you have to invest in this hypothetical?
5,000.
You have 5,000 to invest?
Hi, just pay me 5K and then I'll help you get 5K.
I mean, that's actually, Ed, that's funny, but it's not entirely crazy. I mean, like one of my personal consulting, like the only guy still a coach, and I just like, I love him, but I joke that like, I don't know. He's like, he won't like stop paying me until I like fire him. And like, I like him. So I haven't fired him yet, but 2 different times he's been like, hey man, like, I want a client or whatever. Like, he's doing other stuff too. Like I want a client. I'm like, all right. And then both times I brought him new clients that paid like 10 to 15 grand within like 48 hours of him saying that he wanted to get a new client on. So I literally just like leveraged my network. So to that point, I mean, you could honestly go to like some of the big wig people and be like, hey, like, I really want to find a client that pays me at least 10 grand. Here's my track record. Like, you want to do this ethically, right? Here's my track record, here's all that. Like, I wanted to send you 5K. If you can send me a referral for somebody who'll pay me 10K, I'll send you, or 15K, I'll send you 5K or whatever it is, right?
Yo, Jazz, you owe me money.
Yeah. So seriously, I mean, that is an actual strategy you could use if you had that money. It's kind of paying to play a little bit, but like,
yo, he's been playing for free.
I know, but it does work. I mean, like, that is interesting. I had one other idea, but it's gone for a second. But I don't know. Is this helpful, Jazz?
Yeah, this is really helpful. I wanted to ask a question that couldn't be answered the typical way, just to open like more resourceful avenues. That was a great answer.
Cool. Awesome. God, thanks for that question. Really enjoyed it.
It's a fun one. Okay.
Still thinking about it. I'm like, I want to answer more. But yeah.
Yo, I already get him clients for free. Please get out of here, Jazz. Question from Chris Dixon. He says, hi guys, so layout question. As far as graphic design and use of particular fonts, spacings, etc., I'm sure that there are about 4 to 5 that are standard. Also, laying graphics and images out in your sales letter, etc., do you have a go-to graphics person who won't take over the space and an understanding of working with copywriters?
Sweet. What's up, Chris?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Yeah, even better that I have now joined RMBC yesterday, which is cool.
Awesome. It was good to see you in there. I liked your intro post, and glad that client finally paid you and you were able to join.
Oh Jesus Christ! I've been chasing it up for so long, and I've kind of ring-fenced that money, and yeah, I finally got. I mean, it wasn't that they weren't happy about it; it was just the fact that they would just COVID hit and everything, delayed everything. And I was just like, just pay me the money so I can press that bloody button. So yeah, really excited. So yeah, so the question is about, in my background's TV, so I'm a very visual person, but obviously you've got writing the copy for your sales letters, etc. But obviously, you need some graphics in there. There's spacings, there's fonts that are good, standard. I don't know. I mean, I've only started going to RMBC today, so I don't know that's in the training. but I just had to ask the question because I think it's important, the layout, the spacing and everything like that. So
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, I mean, as far as the fonts and spacing and stuff, the short answer is like generally I'm putting the onus on the client to do that. Like, I'm not a designer, and I'm like not, that's kind of on them, and they usually have a team that's dialed in. They're going to do that. So like, I mean, even the font size, I don't know. There's not like, the bigger fonts are generally going to be better. It depends on your demo, but especially for older demographics, if they like, you have to think about, if you're seeing like an older person who's like looking at their cell phone and like the font's like magnified, it's just huge, right?
yeah.
So I mean, that's a mistake people make, is they put out these sales letters with like a size 12 or 14 font, and it should probably be like 18 or 22. Like we talk about that even with Justin's emails. It's pretty important. As far as like the graphics and the images and things like that in a sales letter, I will only do that if I feel like it's really going to support the argument I'm making, or like it's going to add a bunch of proof elements or credibility, or I just think that, it's really going to increase conversions and help out. Then I'll take, screenshots and I'll put stuff in. But typically if that's not the case, or, the client's got kind of a good design team already, then I'm not really even providing all of that stuff to them. Do most of your clients, do you feel like they want you to do it, or do you want to do it? Or I'm kind of curious about the genesis of the question.
Well, I'm kind of at an early stage. I'm just writing emails to people. I do e-shops to this particular company where I've got the images anyway, the leads to their Shopify. So I've got all the product images and stuff like that. But just laying out, say, a sales letter, if you're approaching like smaller sort of SMEs and stuff like that probably aren't going to have a graphic design company. They probably might, the graphic design department. They'd probably have someone in there that will do some graphics. But, it's like an extra selling point because I come from a very creative industry. So I'm just thinking, is there a particular way of laying stuff out, or should I just go? Because I mean, I look at a lot of Agora stuff. I was a client of theirs for a long time. I bought a lot of their products. I guess it depends, as you say, who you're actually selling to, the font size, because, reading, say, Justin's emails, for example, they're so easy to read. They're quite large and stuff. So it's just a general question about a layout. But as you say, if you don't have that graphic design element within the company you're working for, it could be something like it gives another sort of, I can do a certain element of that as well. I thought if there was a particular layout, or is it just like, I just look at a lot of swipe files and stuff and see what works?
Yeah, you can do that stuff. I mean, the one thing I would warn you of, or have you be wary of, is as soon as you take on the design, now it's like a whole nother level of headaches and responsibilities too, right? So it's like you're giving them the copy, but now you're also doing the design. So now if it, doesn't convert or it doesn't go great, then you're now like, they can blame the design or your copy for it. Yeah. Or if they don't like the design and now they're coming back and giving you all this feedback, and you're, it's actually delaying it and creates more work for you. And you go through, 20 iterations on the design and keep doing that stuff. And I'm seeing some people resonating with this in the chat too. I get it, but I've also seen a lot of, you're not the first person to kind of have this idea. And like, I generally, what will most often happen is you're just creating way more work for yourself. And it's just almost always better to not have the extra responsibility.
I just thought if there was some input, because obviously images are really important. I mean, do you kind of suggest when you're writing copy for like a long form sales letter, for example, like the fitness niche or preppers market, or all the kind of things you've done? Do you have any input into any of that at all, or that you just let them? It's up to them to deal with that. You're just there to write the copy, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, typically I'm just there to write the copy. I mean, if again, if I have if I see an article and I want to include a screenshot of an article, or I find a chart or something interesting, then I may just copy and paste it in. And maybe there's a comment like, show this chart, show this, right? There's a little bit of that, but that's gonna be 50% of the time. And then 50% of the time or more, I don't include any of that at all. And then, depending on the client, I might be like, hey, once you get design, I'm happy to look over it and, kind of make sure that I think it looks good. But that's about it. Yeah. The designs, they're two different things. And like my job is to write copy, you know. And Michael said some landing page specialist might be a good at both, could be a niche. Michael, I mean, people do it, but like I just really feel like you're creating more work for yourself and more opportunities to piss the client off or have more headaches. So you can do it, but I really generally just feel like I would just focus on the copy.
Okay, that's cool. So just a quick one. Going back to the font, because obviously there are a gazillion fonts, and giving a designer carte blanche to do anything with a font, they were going to do something horrific probably. But you know, what are the sort of standard fonts that you kind of? I mean, I could probably see and do some research on it, but off the top of your head, what kind of like fonts are out there? You just kind of like go, right, this is my go-to.
I just write in like Microsoft Word, and like it's like Calibri or like whatever. Some people write like Verdana, but there's no magical font. I mean, one thing you can do is you can inspect page elements. So you can go to like the top sales letters that are out there, do right click, inspect page elements. And if you know anything about HTML at all, you can look and see what font those people are using. And typically I could just go through and look at the different, see if there's some fonts that are kind of common, but even I don't think the fonts, as long as it's not some weird old English font or not too cutesy, you know, like the typewriter font, all that kind of shit. It's like, basically if it's like a normal font that like you would see like normally on the internet, then that's really all that matters.
Okay, that sounds good. No, I get that. That's brilliant. I caught the first episode of your documentary, by the way, the other day.
Nice. Yeah.
I loved it. Being a film person who films stuff and produces stuff, no, it's really nice. I loved it. Really
thank you.
Very good production values, and very nice pool chat, by the way.
Oh, thank you on both accounts. Yeah, I appreciate that. I had Jude out filming with me. We're going to try and get another episode out by the end of this month. And I really need to like, I might even do some cold traffic funnels where I drive people to that video more and then have an opt-in for my email list after, because I really want to leverage that video more because I do think it's really good content. So I appreciate you saying that.
That's the thing. Obviously, I know you, and I'm in the RMBC and stuff and with you guys, and I just think it is a very good. I know you like to sort of use multi-use content, and I think, you know, if they didn't even know who you were, I think it's a brilliant sales piece there. Absolutely.
Well, thanks, man. It's great hearing that. It's good validation because I'm really been toying with trying to get that in front of more people. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely go for it. All right, cheers, guys,
awesome.
And thanks, Ed, for his emails. Enjoying them.
You got it, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Anything you want to add on before we go to the next one?
Yeah, just 8B9F7413. Like, you keep hitting us up to all panelists. So if you have a question, put it in the
Q&A chat.
Q&A, and then change your chat to be all panelists and attendees, because you kind of keep just direct messaging us, but we're answering questions, looking at the chat. And so I'm really happy you joined RMBC. You mentioned that I joined RMBC 3 days ago. I'm charging $200 for a sales letter on Fiverr. What do I do to hunt high-paying clients? There's a lot of stuff, including watching these other videos, and we've talked about it a ton. We kind of talked about what to do in today's episode too. There's a ton of free content, but also put the question in the Q&A. Anyway, next question, Ed.
Let's do it. By the way, who asked that? David Ryan, to get on my email list. Let me find the link real quick. Actually, let me ask the next question, then I'll put it in the chat. Question from Eric Chen. If you wanted to start affiliate marketing business, what steps would you follow?
Nice. What's up, Eric?
Hello, Stefan.
How you doing?
Very good, and you? Hello,
Doing
Ed.
Well.
Yeah.
Eric, man.
So thank you for taking my question. Yeah, I would love to have your opinion. If you wanted to, let's say, to get into the affiliate marketing business, what are the steps would you follow? Like, on your perspective, what are the things you will build to make that happen?
Yeah. What kind of, do you have any kind of specialty now? Like, do you know how to do like Facebook ads? Do you know how to build landing pages? Do you know SEO? Do you know how to do paid media? Do you have any kind of specific, what skills do you have right now?
Okay, so now I know how to build the funnel. I know how to write email. I know how to write a little bit of Facebook ads. I know also how to write a little bit of article. But if I can just, just do a little thing, I don't want to do a lot of things at the same time. Naturally, I have some money aside too, so I can afford to buy some traffic from Google on Facebook.
What kind of offers do you think you'd want to promote as an affiliate? Have you thought about that?
Actually, I want to do some e-learning stuff. So I don't want to sell, any physical product. Just want to sell a, how can I say that? E-learning stuff. That's you can only find on computer. It's not physical.
But you want to be the affiliate for it, right? Or do you want to start a business that affiliates are going to then promote?
No, I want to be the affiliate first.
Right. Okay. So why does it, just out of curiosity, why is it that you're more interested in the e-learning? Like why digital versus physical? Since you're promoting it, you're not gonna.
I think the digital one is more scalable. I don't know. It's just my guess.
Okay.
And it's more timeless, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the one thing you'll find is that physical products will generally have a higher CPA, which for those watching who don't know what that is, cost per acquisition. So generally, for like a supplement or something like that, you might get a $95 or $100, cost per acquisition. Whereas with an info product, you might get like a $30 or $40 cost per acquisition. You can be successful with both for sure. But I would just say, the right physical products can do, are really good for affiliates.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think, but having a niche is good. I mean, because you said like e-learning, but are we talking like self-development, health? I mean, you can do everything. Because my point, the reason I'm asking this is because like if it were me, I mean, what's the easiest thing to do is to build. I mean, what you're doing. I mean, I would probably, if you can run Facebook traffic and run direct ads to products, right? That's like a great way to go. It depends on the offer and all that kind of stuff. Like, right, can you actually run Facebook ads to that offer or not? If it's like, and how good you are at Facebook and what you're able to do. And if you have a bunch of accounts and all that kind of stuff, like that's the fastest and easiest way is like run Facebook traffic to an offer. But, another option would be if you wanted to kind of create properties online, like, content-based properties or even like an opt-in type thing, and then just like run traffic to those things to build lists. So kind of, it's very timeless tactic, right? But like maybe you have like a tripwire report if you were going to do it, but like I would have it based on what you want to promote. So if you want to promote like health stuff, then you have like, like 20 natural like health remedies that your doctor has probably never told you about. And it's like, get this report inside, you're going to discover this, and this, like, having a good landing page, run traffic to it, have people opt in, you get the leads, you build up the email list, you have an autoresponder sequence where you're sending out emails to them with like, more value and content, but then also promoting different offers with your affiliate link in them. And then you just have to watch and see like, what is your, cost per lead? And are they self-liquidating, meaning that for every lead you get, are you breaking even, are making money, or are you losing money? And if you can, you don't want to do so much of it that you have like 2,000 leads, but they all suck and you never like make any money from them and you wasted your money getting those leads. But if you're able to, do it and you have even a couple hundred leads that come in and your targeting is accurate on Facebook, the kind of tripwire is a good tripwire, the content's good and they're getting engaged and they're opening, and then you're like right away promoting like a health supplement or a book or something like that, whatever it is. And some people are buying it and because if you get like a $95, let's say you get $100 CPA and for every 100 people who come in, then like one person buys that product, right? That means basically you can afford to pay $1 per lead. Now, in theory, they're going to buy more stuff in the future. So you're actually, each lead's worth more than $1, but at least to be kind of self-liquidating, that's what you're looking at. Now, if you can promote something when they first come in that gets like 3 conversions and you get $300, now you can afford to pay $3 CPL and it's self-liquidating. So like that's with a little bit of money, and if you know what you're doing on Facebook and you want to like go back to the skills you have, like that's another option. And over time you can build these really large lists of people, and then you can segment them out. The people who convert, now you have your buyers list, so they can get different emails. I mean, you can go really deep that way and have large email lists and promote and do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But again, the even easier is to just run Facebook ads to offers as an affiliate, as long as you kind of know what you're doing and making sure you pick offers that convert too.
Okay, so you won't recommend to burn the list, right? Just to nurture it and just put some promo sometime. That's what you mean.
It depends. I mean, you could do both, honestly. I wouldn't burn it, but I would give them a promo right away. Like right when they opt in, I'd be like, hey, here's like the report we promised. And by the way, if you're interested in natural remedies, have you heard about this strange doctor in Michigan who discovered a secret like goo that can help to lower blood sugar fast, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like click here and it goes to like a blood sugar supplement. I'd have to say on day one for that, because again, that's when they're hottest and warmest. And especially because if you're getting kind of cold people coming in, I would be trying to like, get conversions from that like right away. And then I would probably promote to them pretty fast, but I would also provide valuable content so that they're not just coming in, getting burned on a bunch of like affiliate offers and then like unsubscribing. I would try to find a balance probably. Okay.
So you also write some article to build up your credibility, something like that too, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, if it depends on the list, I mean, you could just run like again, it could be like a book of like, again, I'm using this health example, like, 20 like natural remedies that your doctor probably never told you about. And like, or maybe it's something more specific, but like, if you have a good little landing page for that, then it doesn't really matter who you are. I mean, if you have like, expert or someone to help you. And by the way, even when they opt in, even if you're not you could just right then and there be like, you could have an affiliate offer after they opt in and be like, hey, like, so glad you're here. By the way, like, here's some more like, important information you might benefit from. And you could have like 3 boxes on like the thank you page for opting in. And each one is like a summary of like kind of a good copy about some affiliate offer and an affiliate link, and then another one. So then after they opt in, they might click on one of those. So even before they get the email, they're clicking over to look at like a VSL or a text sales letter for something you're promoting. And then they might buy there. And then you've got the first email where you're sending them the stuff. And then inside the report that you're giving them the 20 like remedies or whatever it is, I'd have affiliate links there too. So I would be like, that's almost like a sales letter that's then selling them on like, either one offer or maybe each remedy is a different thing that, provide valuable content. But at the end of it, it's like, oh, and by the way, if you want the fastest way to do this, like discover blah, 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 click here, right? And you just have like a bunch of affiliate links in it. So now you're giving them all these opportunities to click and buy. And as long as the tracking is on place, I mean, like it's pretty unlikely that if those people are decently targeted when they're coming into like your cold funnel, like they're probably going to buy, some of them are going to buy something throughout that journey. And it's really just a math game of like knowing what your cost is, to acquire your lead versus, what you're making back for those leads and what the leads are worth. So that's kind of like, that's sort of the strategy there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For the number. Yeah. Okay. Take notes for that. Okay. Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Happy to help.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I feel like, I don't know, the chat was pretty quiet while it was going on, but I feel like I just gave everyone like a blueprint for how to like do affiliate marketing. But yeah, everyone's like, I don't want to do affiliate marketing. I want to write copy. But okay, I guess we can do add like 1 or 2 more, it looks like.
Yep. Also, I was talking to people in the chat about why some people are not getting my emails, which is because I have distanced myself from people who are students from my previous employer to respect the non-compete, and I don't want a lawsuit. Yes, social distancing, exactly. Okay. Great question here from Andrew Trachtman. He says, how do you research higher ticket clients, especially if your client doesn't have much to work with? It's easier to, I hate when you guys like it when I'm reading it goes at the top. It's easy to research more open groups, but it seems harder to, oh my God. It seems harder to find info on higher end clients.
What's up, Andrew?
Hey, Stefan.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Could be better, but this question's kind of would make it better.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, give us a little context for this. You're trying to find higher ticket clients. What is a higher ticket client to you?
Yeah, in this case, it's clients who tend to be in higher level groups. So 7-figure plus, it's sort of like War Room, probably like Dan Kennedy Inner Circle, like these or Jay Abraham, like these higher end coaching, the people who they need higher end focus and clarity in coaching. So their problems are more indicative of that. It's less that instant gratification and more they're already winning and they just need to win more.
And what are we offering them to help them win more?
Basically one-on-one personal coaching for someone that I'm working for.
I mean, the immediate challenge with that, not that it's not impossible, but like the people you mentioned, like none of those people need coaching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a, you know what I mean? I'm kind of feeling a little stuck with that one.
I mean, people get coaching. Like, so it's not that they don't need coaching, but they're a very hard sell. Like if I go to like Jay Abraham and I'm like, hey dude, I'm gonna give you some one-on-one consulting. Jay Abraham's gonna say, I don't know who you are, go fuck yourself. Right? Dan Kennedy,
I meant it in
thing.
the reverse, like the kinds of people who would be going to Jay Abraham.
Oh, okay.
Oops. Yeah, no one's coaching Dan Kennedy.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm like, this is a very ambitious, goal of your clients.
Like,
No. I mean, what's your client's budget?
They haven't told me.
Yeah, because like the biggest thing is like join the masterminds where those people hang out, right? Like or buy a high ticket product that has like a FB group, like a Facebook group where for their platinum people and those people are hanging out. I mean, that's where you kind of find those people. Besides that, if you sort of know, I mean, that's the biggest, probably the easiest in a way, but does require money.
I was afraid you say that because I don't think that there's quite that much of a budget for that.
I know. I do wonder. I mean, the coaching stuff's tough though, right? Because even that people, like, if this person, like, look, right? If this person wants to be my coach, but they like can't afford to be in like a group that I'm running in, like, I don't know that I feel very comfortable investing in that person as a coach, right? Like, there's a credibility factor, especially at a higher level, where you want to get like an 8-figure, 9-figure business owner to hire you to do coaching, but like what's this? I mean, I know you can't give away the client, but I'm just sort of like thinking like, what's this person's credibility level?
Probably amongst entrepreneurs. If you haven't found this person by yourself, you probably wouldn't really know this person, is my guess.
Do they have, I mean, what kind of track record do they have?
For the coaching itself, I mean, they have coached a lot of high-level people. Yeah, I wish I could say more about that one.
No, I know. I understand.
Help more.
I understand. Ed, I mean, you've done high-ticket stuff and like some coaching and things. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. So basically, you want to go after people who are interested in, who would be coached by Jay Abraham. Why don't you just research what Jay's messaging is and just swipe that?
So clarify for both of us.
No, well, I mean, if I understand correctly, like you guys are going after people who would go to Jay Abraham, right?
Right.
So why don't you just swipe Jay Abraham's messaging? I mean, it works.
I'm like, yeah, he's the closest approximation I could think of. I know this, actually, I just realized this one will help Stefan probably realize who I'm talking about. The closest thing right now is Tip of the Spear from Mark Divine, that sort of level of coaching.
Interesting.
There was a certain something posted up in the Copy Accelerator Lite group not too long ago. If that gives you the key you need. Got you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still thinking about the strategy though, like what it is, especially for, I mean, how many of these clients, because this person, it's not like they don't want a bunch of coaching clients. They want like a handful of really good high ticket coaching clients, right?
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're like, how is it that if they're credible and they have all this experience, they don't even have like a big budget? That's just like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
It's mostly because I don't think they're going to give that budget to me to do the research.
Well, are they getting clients right now? I mean, like, honestly, I mean, that makes sense, but like, but what do they want you to do? What is your job for them then? Is it just
Do
research?
the research. Yeah, RMB. Yeah, basically RMBC. Do the research, write the sales letter.
But your main job is to write the sales letter, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this isn't entirely your problem. What you need to do is, I mean, you just need to know. Yeah, I get it. You want to. So you're basically asking because you want to know more about. So this is specific to research for RMBC. Like, how do you research those people? How do you know what they're? Right. Okay, that helps me a lot actually. But I mean, I think it still comes back to. I don't know. There's different stuff you could do. Like, you could post into Justin 7 Talk Copy and be like, "Hey, question for you, who folks who have done at least 7 figures. Like, I'm writing up like an offer that's kind of targeted towards you, honestly. And I'm trying to do the research. It's hard. There's not like a bunch of, super like high level, besides paid masterminds, which I, can't really do for my part of my budget for this. But like, what are the XYZ? Ask them the questions that would be relevant. And if you just posted in that, I think you would get some 7, 8, and 9 figure people to respond.
Yeah,
probably more on the 7 figure level, which by the way are the ones that probably you are most likely to take that anyway, the coaching offer. Because someone who's done 7 figures wants to be like, I've done 7 figures, especially in like a public group where it's like, hey, I'm successful. But like, which is, I'm not, again, it's just human nature. I'm not, ragging on anybody for that. But yeah, I think like putting like something like that into like the Justin 7 Talk Copy group could be a good start.
Yeah. Is it like coaches and consultants? Is that who you're helping? Like who your clients helping?
For the clients helping, it can be people that are still a surprising number of them are still full-time employees.
Oh, okay.
So it would be to help them start their own businesses or to get out of it.
Okay.
At least that's what I'm gathering from the things we have.
So we're having a few different conversations here because
that's not what I thought.
Maybe I'm stuck on the Jay Abraham thing, but someone who's in a job is not going to know who the hell Jay Abraham is. They're not going to have a business. So is this like a biz op to help people get out of their job, or is this to help people who are currently coaches or whatever it is to make more money faster, easier, with less effort?
Here's the best way I can describe it. It's focus and mindset coaching. There we go. That's exactly what it is. Sorry.
For like employees who want to.
At the moment, it just seems like anyone with a budget, which is why I'm having trouble here.
So to me, I think before and it's definitely get your opinion on this. I think to me, before being able to move forward with this client, you really have to get clear on what it is that they do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It's always offer. And then you see where the offer fits in with the market. Because if it sells, it sells. But who are you selling to? And what are you selling? That's at the end of the day, what needs to be clarified before you can even do research.
I agree with that, Andrew. I think you need more clarity from the client and understanding that, because it does seem like the part about people interested in mindset and things okay, that's helpful, but kind of figuring out from the client who it is that they're actually who are you going after? I mean, if I feel like we can't quite answer that yet, then it's hard for us to be able to give you better advice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So talk to the client about it, get a little bit clearer on that, and then we can circle back from there.
Yeah, that makes sense when it's so confusing then. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you. Okay. And I know we'll wrap up here in a second. That's not what we just talked about with Andrew, though, is I just want to point out that that's actually pretty common. Even in Copy Accelerator, Justin, I see that a lot. It's gotten better with the members of Copy Accelerator, because it's been a couple of years now or whatever, but a year and a half. But even early on, a lot of people higher level who just kind of don't know who they're actually going after. And then it's impossible. If you don't know who you're selling to, you'll never sell to them, right? So it sounds really basic, but I want to give Andrew the love of letting him know, Andrew, letting you know that you're, don't be don't feel embarrassed or something that if you don't know that, because a lot of high level people still have that same issue. But we kind of we're sort of we almost say don't want to ask, or we sort of try and well, maybe I can just go forward without having that dialed in, but you can't. This is a really fundamental and important thing. So that's about it. And other than that, we are going to wrap up. I'm going to be respectful of Ed's time and honor it. Everyone who joined, thank you so much. If you didn't have your question answered, I'm sorry about that. We'll try and get to it next week. Also, though, if you don't, go to YouTube, listen to this on iTunes, for sure. Listen to the podcast, listen to every episode. If you're listening on iTunes, thank you for listening. Hopefully you're subscribed and you'll share this with others. Also, the replays are on YouTube, and we have the timestamps in the description. So if you haven't gone through old episodes, go look at the timestamps in the descriptions for these old episodes of The Road to a Billion. And you may find that a question that you had has already been answered. And then on YouTube as well, please like, subscribe, comment, all of that. But thank you everyone so much. Ed, thank you. You have any amazing last words to share with everybody?
Send samples to clients.
It's good.
There you go.
Good stuff there. Awesome. Thank you, Ed. And thank you everyone. We'll see you all next week. Thank you so much.